Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. I'm sorry about the last upload. The sound went out and it came back on. I don't know why the sound went out and I don't care, but it came back on. So I'm going to be more careful this time about that. Let me give shouts out to everybody that supported the last two live streams through Cash App. Shouts out to you. I appreciate that. J Smart, Base Muslim, M. Johnston, Darius Asadullah, M. Green, Gale and Knight, Churchill TLG, Goolsby, Lion 917, Ryan G, S. Jock as always, Gale and Knight again, and Malika Maybani 2 times. And then also C. Peterson coming through. I thank all of you for coming through on the Cash App with the support, and I'm going to ask the audience again that instead of leaving it up to a few to come through, I'd rather that the bulk of you send in $1 or $2 a piece, and it would just make it easy on everybody. Those of you that hear this, it's easier on you and and knowing that it's easier on you makes it easier on me. And then one other thing for which I'll be using anything you do send is for either AI imaging for the background, or maybe, definitely for the month of Ramadan, some AI voiceovers. I'm going to have some narrations of what I say done because I can write it. But we just began fasting today, and my throat will dry out. So in order to prevent that, because once the throat dries out, that's it's not good for your health, for your immune system. One of the secrets to fasting for your health is that you don't say too much in the beginning days. And you might still breathe in steam or a humid environment or something just to help your lungs and throat stay coated, because once they dry out, pathogens can get in more easily. Don't worry, I'll pick cool voices you like if I can find Samuel L. Mother Cuss Word Jackson, or maybe that brother from East Africa that narrates the beginning of the flight. Somebody do that, but I'm going to be looking for AI voice, probably something similar to mine. I might even find a David Attenborough type voice, the one that narrates those nature shows. That would be actually kind of funny. Jet Blackenborough. Yeah, this narrated by Jet Blackenborough. I should probably do one of those comedy skits on the potholes and the roads in Mississippi. Potholus americanus. They start off undetectably small and they grow with time, and before you know it, it is consuming car tires within a matter of milliseconds. I probably might find one of those AI voices. But anyway, what I wanted to get at is that I open this up to say that you young brothers are doing the right thing by not making these approaches, but you need to ratchet it up. Danica Marie has probably more hours of content than anyone else that has any sizable following in this space, talking just about the fact that men are not approaching and women are not being approached. And that's exactly foul the huck it should be. Why should these women be approached in the West? Westernesha needs to be by herself. Westernesha does not appreciate the attention, nor the affection, nor the interest. And they're actually offended. And something similar happens when it comes down to men, except men realize that their self-worth and their worth to women are two different things. That's one of the ways that men mature. Women don't do that. They say they do, but in actuality, we watch them not doing this. I will tell you, happily or unhappily, I will still tell you that in the end, the ladies don't understand how important it is to develop their own self-worth. That's not something that really rings true for them. It depends too much on what other people say. Because men have to develop our own, we're more at liberty to take our self-worth as being based on what we do. I'm really not sure why. I don't know what to tell you in terms of what can I say? What can I tell you in terms of why it is that they refuse to grow? I don't particularly care. You're doing the right thing by not making approaches because they're not adults. It would be nice if they are. They're capable of being adults. I know they have the capacity. I don't infantilize women. But this is part of why I hold them accountable. I know their potential. God is not an oppressor. God is not unjust and unfair. They just looked and they said, I don't need to develop. And unfortunately for you, too many men of too many generations previously did not require maturity and adulthood in the women that they approached. That's why it is that you can look at a woman and the more adult parts she has, the less mature she's going to behave, especially when it can help men. That's why you see women that will be intelligent in many ways and then turn around and it comes to men and all of a sudden they turn their brain off. To them, it's a joke. It's hilarious. There's nothing funny about it. I mean, there's nothing wrong about it. It's completely funny to them. Be smart, be this super highly intelligent engineer with a high IQ, get with a man and just go, duh. And they're not making fun of the man. They're actually acting this way. You're going to have to step it up, though. Number one, it's time to start firing back at these old ninjas that tell you to make approaches. And ask them how it worked out for them. And when they say, well, I've been married for this many years, you can say, well, this is how it's worked out for us. This is what you did. When your stupid baby boomer behind, or even silent generation behind, if they're still around, chased and pursued her for months. You did all of this. Then all that happened was that it sent a message to her that you had a negative value, but you were willing to work hard to prove to her that you had any value at all. Then she taught that to your daughters, and you taught your daughters that. And you taught your sons that they better not come home until they get some, but by the same token, the daughters are supposed to sit back and wait for months. So you pretty much told your sons that they need to be homeless for several months. That's what you taught them. And then to make matters worse, your boomer daughter turned around and taught this to her Gen X daughter. And each generation got worse because they sat up in these hair salons and compared notes as to how much they could get in exchange for how little. You think guys were bad because in high school they would lie on their thang-a-lang and
say, man, I ain't no virgin. I got some less. You think that they were really bad about that? That was wrong. But these ladies were talking about things and they took the competition a bit more seriously and it got far worse. And now they are openly transactional. They brag about it. They brag about how wrong they do guys. We're chilling. And by a certain point, the guys were no longer in the pictures as far as dads go, because frankly, the women could just leave the dads or kick the dads out or drive them away. Tell them stay away. Just tell the kids dad ain't worth nothing and keep them away and still get child support. So they did. I got custody. You got child support. By the way, your daddy doesn't amount to much. And that's the end of it. Don't argue. Don't ask about your daddy. And that's the last of that. You created a situation in which men started off with a negative value. When they say, well, if you guys maybe knew how to do things like change tires, you can say, well, we didn't design the tires. That wasn't us. And besides, we can learn how to change a tire if we're shown how to do it. But the issue is still going to remain the same. Do these chicks need to learn any of these things in order to say that they're strong, independent women? No, they don't. You told them to be strong, independent women. Then you told them to sit back and never go after anything in life that they want that walks on two legs, but to go after every single thing else. Hey, you successfully sent the message that we men are not valued. Changing a tire is not going to change that. These chicks are looking for men to fill utilitarian roles, and they still don't see any value in the men themselves. That's why we're looking at you like you screwed this up. You're also going to have to step it up by beginning to police the men that are sitting up here like a bunch of dummies, still making approaches and they're never being approached. Now, you got this really in-shape personal trainer buddy, and he gets approached by women, so sometimes he approaches them. That's not something to really police. That's still kind of fair. Now, if you're religious, you could say, hey, why are you approaching him and you're not trying to get married? But you can't say that it's unfair and imbalanced per se right off the bat. He's getting approached too. Personal trainers are some of the guys that get approached the most, and they tell you, man, women throw it at them all the time. Married women. But regular guys, the rest of us, we're not being approached. It's not our fault, but we're not. So what are we doing making approaches? So when you know when you are buddies with a guy that still goes and he makes cold approaches and he doesn't have this high success rate and he's not being approached, then it's all right to sit up and say to them, why are you still doing this? These ladies don't even respect you because you tried. They're looking at you like something's wrong with you. They think you're stupid. If they like you, they might still think you're dumb. Well, you ain't going, how you going to know if you don't try? You can know nowadays by social media. They tell you, they brag about these things. They post about it. That's how you can know. Talking about how you gonna know if you don't try. You'll know actually, because they will sit up and brag about how difficult they're going to make it. That's why it is that most of us aren't approaching. Where have you been all this time? Did you not pay attention around you? Did you become blinded by the genitals? If they're sitting up and saying, well, here, that's less competition for me right now, that's when you can say that means that there's something wrong. If it's hot outside and there's a watering hole, and the crocs are bragging about how they got the watering hole now. Like, yeah, we here. Come on, drink. We dare you. And the giraffe and the lion alike and the zebra alike avoid that watering hole while it's hot outside. And the baboons avoid it while it's hot outside. You're going to sit up and say, oh, there must not be any competition. And are you going to make that your last thought before you walk up to the watering hole? Or are you going to watch it for a while to see when the movement comes, if there's movement? You're going to have to make it a source of shame for men at a time like this, when women are complaining about men not approaching, and they're beginning to tell on themselves even more and show why the men aren't approaching. Shame the men that are still dumb enough to make these approaches. Now, in one of the videos about how men aren't approaching, there was a lady commenter. She said that her name was Baddie Broadcast. And the first thing she went to is, well, if y'all ain't chasing women no more, what you gonna do? Deal with Bussy? The problem with that is that well, there is a major issue with that. That issue is that as they sit up and they start saying, well, as these women start saying this stuff, what they're trying to say in a nutshell is, you're not a wife and zesty and sassy if you want to be valued and you don't make approaches. You're ugly and creepy if you make approaches. All they're saying to you in this case is there's absolutely no way that you're ever going to be valuable. And if enough of you become successful, well, then since all of you are successful, then what is successful? Now that doesn't mean anything anymore. So, hey, let's go back to using you. Let's go right back to that because you don't deserve any better. That's what they're doing at this point. That's what they're talking about. That's what they're saying. Really, all they're letting you know is you're never going to do anything that's particularly right. So if you die alone, so what? That was in the cards for you anyway. Now give them no other choice but to either die with each other or to die alone. The real question is not, are you going to start dealing with dudes? At least not right now. Now, don't get me wrong. I do think the devil's going to start moving in and trying to convince more people to do that. But right now, the way you guys are, those of you that exist today, no, you wouldn't. What you would mostly do is you live by yourself. You'd have your hobbies. You expected that anyway. The real issue and the real reason that these women are asking that is because they are much more likely to start dealing with each other than dudes are to start romantically and intimately dealing with each other. They will do that just because they're sick of guys. That's why they'll do that. A lot of these women that are with women aren't really genuinely attracted to women, to be honest with you. A lot of these women that are with women are actually, they prefer men. But you'll notice that as long as they're with other women, their friends don't feel like judging them because, they always say we listen and we don't judge. So they can be with another woman. Since that's something that does bring about a moral judgment, everybody shuts up. They choose a man. That in and of itself does not bring about a moral judgment against them. So then their friends start saying, well, what kind of man is he? And why is he good enough for you? Girl, ain't no man good enough for you. What are you doing? Oh, wait a minute. He's a normal guy too? Wait, hold up. You can call him on a weeknight and he's at home? Damn. What's wrong with you? No, girl, you need to get you one of these guys, one of these F boys that everybody's trying to get and can't get. You need to chase the same few guys that we're all chasing. They got too many options. That's what you need to do. So they're following the crowd even against nature. You'd be stupid if you made approaches. That's why my hat goes off to you for not making them. But you got some of your partners that are still doing this. And if anybody needs to be policed, it will be them. Now, some guys are just simps no matter what. Most simps are simps out of ignorance. They don't really know how bad it is with these broads. Those are the ones you can wake up. But this right there proves that most guys are not these weak wimps that women are so paranoid about finding out that a guy is. Just because he wears glasses or something like that. No, most of these women are not actually they're not correct in how they gauge guys. And most men are not just wimps that have no backbone and no spine. For the most part, most men just don't have adequate knowledge of what women were going to do and what games they'll play. I'm still learning. And I've been paying attention for 30 years plus just to see what the hell are they hiding that they don't want us to know? What do I need to know that I don't know right now? And I'm still learning stuff. Not only what the games are, but I'm also learning how they play them. And I'm actually shocked at how aware of these games many of them are when they play these games. The dual mating strategy, maybe in their teens, they don't know they're doing it, but as they get older, they realize that's exactly what the hell they're doing. Okay. I'm sitting up and consciously saying, all right, I'm 22. It's time for me to be somebody baby mama. Now I'm going to be this ninja's baby mama. He's 6'2". When he's wearing his underwear that looks like there's a baby's arm holding an apple underneath it, he ain't got to do nothing. He can just come shoot the club up. I got these dudes over here, the normal guys, they like me, but I don't like normal men. To me, normal is the same thing as the bottom 1%. They might as well be incels living in their mom's basement with neckbeards and never bathing. It's just that those are the same. Anything other than baby daddy, it's all the same. At that point, once I'm a baby mama, then I can turn around and start saying stuff about how the baby daddy ain't worth nothing. And either he's going to be too busy with these other chicks for the baby, or he's going to try to be in the baby's life, and I'm going to tell the baby what kind of ain't that he is, and I'm going to drive him away. I don't really want him for child support. He ain't never had to develop no skill that's going to make any money anyway. Then I'm going to go after one of these other. They're thinking about this. If not by 22, then by 24, 25. But what they do have their minds made up about at the end of it all, there's just no mother cuss word way. No way are they going to be sitting up here treating men the way that the men treat them. That doesn't work. They don't believe in equality or reciprocity. They believe in a hierarchy. That's the hen pecking order. If a pen is nice to them, they think that's the pen. If a hen is nice to them, they think that's the hen I get to peck. She's nice to me. She ain't pecking me, so I can peck her because I'm higher up. That's their mindset. The problem is that they view guys automatically as being inferior to them, unless it's the 1.4%. In a situation like that, you'd be stupid to make approaches, and you're not stupid. Most of you aren't doing this anymore. That shows that most of you actually make smart decisions if you have enough information to do so. But the most important thing is that you have lost your fear of being by yourself. You realize that it's not dangerous per se. Now, when I was growing up, it could be socially dangerous for a guy to be by himself for too long. Um, that could be because it opened him up to allegations, even if he was innocent, allegations of other unnatural things. And if the allegations went far enough, he'd probably get fought for that. And once the chicks realized that the rumors were bad enough to lower a man's social standing, at that point, the chicks could hit this guy and get away with it. And if he defended himself, then a bunch of dudes would come out the woodwork and be like, no, bro, you can't hit her. She a female. So it was like that when I was coming up. Most of you guys are now dealing with a situation where you can look and see that, hey, you know what? It really ain't so bad being single. That's not the worst thing that's going to happen. You realize actually that having their attention is one of the worst things that can happen. So it is a good thing that most of you have increased or enhanced your invisibility. Good job, gentlemen. I'm glad to see that. I want you guys to stay safe, and that's the way to do it. So, with that being said, I hope that this helps. Save your approaches for when you leave the West. And when people come to you and say, well, look, even if you ain't going to approach, you at least need to know how to make approaches. Make sure that if someone's going to teach you that they're not a dating roach, because that's just reverse pimping. Instead of selling a chick to you, they're selling you to chicks, and you still have to pay. And then by the same token, also make sure that that they're only going to be teaching you about making approaches in the context of other cultures. It's okay to learn that in that particular context. Again, not for the purposes of fornication, but I also want you guys to keep in mind that you have already changed things for the better for the boys that are coming up to a certain extent in the West. The women that are already grown are not going to learn their lessons. They can't. You're utilities to them. They complain about you not being at singles mixers and those kinds of events only because they're looking for guys to do stuff for them. And it's always something non-sexual. That's why they're complaining. They're not going to learn that lesson. They can't. But the ones that are still little girls and are soon to be teens and adults will be able to look at what's happening to these older women and realize that we're not going to be approached. That's not going to happen. And so they're going to have a bit more of an appreciation for the guys that they do get. I shouldn't say a bit more. We hope that that's going to be the case. The moms will probably try to teach them differently, but you know what? If a chick approaches you and she doesn't appreciate you, you're out. There's a hope that it's going to change things for the better in the West for the next generation. There is that hope, and that's because of you. Because understand this right now, at this point, the places to which we like to go are done. They're toast. If not, they're soon to be.
Specific countries in Africa have been named now. There's actually a beginning of a list in a comment section under somebody's video. And in that comment and the replies to it, South Africa was not mentioned, but we already know. The countries that have been mentioned as being just pretty much lost are Zambia, Rwanda, Kenya, and Nigeria. They're listed as and Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast. They're listed as pretty much having already been lost to feminism. And I mean the misandrist type. It's over. So it's spreading throughout the continent. So our home continent's already being lost very quickly. And what's going to be the case is that Malaysia and Thailand and the countries neighboring them are going to come under pressure from both the West and TikTok and mainland China, which owns TikTok. That's what's going to wind up being the case. So with that being said, my next upload is probably going to have to be a little bit about Malaysia. And then I'm going to give more information on the Buy Me a Coffee when I finish it. So that being said, I appreciate you listening. And I hope that this helps you out. As always, Black Court, Black Mind, Blackout, Assalamu Alaikum, and Black Heterosexual Non-Select Male Power because they don't like it. And Black Patriarchy until extinction of Judgment Day. Thank you for flying with us again here on Jet Black Airways, where the phrase jet black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with us till the wings and the wheels fall off. Gender, justice, forever.